Hey, what up, KX crew? So before I start the video, I should probably address the fact that a lot of you know me because of the Elliott Hulse documentary, and a lot of you are here because you enjoyed that content, or you agreed with my views, or you want to see more content like that. So first of all, I just want to welcome you guys to the KX crew. A lot of you have been asking me to do a follow-up video, and that's kind of what this is. So I'm not sure if you've seen it or not. I did a podcast with another YouTuber who reached out to me who wanted to talk about the documentary, and since then I've been kind of quiet on the subject. I've interacted with Elliott a little bit here and there, but not so much anymore, and I'll explain why. But yeah, thank you guys so much for all the love. I mean, obviously there was a lot of hate. Elliott's developed kind of a cult-like following that did not appreciate hearing someone's opinions that didn't align with their own, and they brought a lot of hate to the channel. So if you're not one of those people, I'm very happy that you're here. So after the Elliott Hulse documentary, as you guys already know, I got on the phone with Elliott. We talked for a while. I think it was like around 45 minutes we talked. It was a pretty good talk. And then I immediately made a video about it, and I was very excited to talk to Elliott. I was kind of a little bit starstruck. I stood by what I said in the video, but at the same time I was a little bit overwhelmed with excitement and enthusiasm. And I think now that a lot of time has passed and the dust has settled a little bit, I think I'm ready to talk more about it. So for starters, to address what I said in that video, Elliott talked about maybe uploading my video to the Strength Camp channel. As you guys know, that obviously didn't happen. He had talked to me about potentially uploading other people's montages or documentary style videos to his channel, but that hasn't happened yet. So I'm assuming that might be something that will be coming in the distant future, maybe when he's kind of reflecting on his time on YouTube. Maybe when he's totally done, he's going to end it with a bang with a bunch of montages from people, but for now it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So just to get that out of the way, I don't think my video will be on the Strength Camp channel. Plus, enough time has passed that video has picked up a lot of momentum and steam on its own, and I'm glad that it was the only one, because the attention may have never made it to my channel if it was uploaded to his own channel. So I'm kind of glad that it worked out this way. Second of all, I have been reading a lot of your comments. I can't keep up with the comments on the Elliott Hulse documentary video. I've been trying to keep up, but a lot of the videos are, like I mentioned before, a lot of toxic comments. Some comments are just, I have to skim past them because there's a lot of people that are just hurling insults at me, and I'm not putting any kind of energy into reading those or responding to those. So for those of you that have been spreading love, I have been reading that and I appreciate it. But a lot of you have been commenting on my other video that I uploaded, the one where I just got off the phone with Elliott, and a lot of you were talking about how Elliott was taking advantage of me, and he was kind of calling me and being really nice to me and spreading a lot of love, and that was just kind of a publicity stunt, because then I immediately talk about Elliott in a very good light, and then Elliott gives me access to a free program which doesn't cost him any money but does make him look very good in the public. So a lot of people were telling me don't be too quick to give Elliott props, because they think that he is taking advantage of the fact that he's a celebrity and I'm just a lowly small YouTuber, and I gave him another platform to be seen in a good light. In response to those comments, I say, well, maybe not, who knows? If he is being a wolf in sheep's clothing, there's no way that we can know it. So we can make assumptions about the man, but we will get nowhere doing this. Yeah, it's possible that he's taking advantage of me to make himself look good. It's also possible that he was trying to right a wrong and he felt bad about letting down a fan and was just trying to do a good thing. So could go either way. That being said, this is a really good transition point for me to talk more about the King's program. That was another thing that Elliott gave me access to, because he apologized for me having a bad experience, and then he gave me access to his King's program. So totally free, right? It was a cool move on his part. A lot of people saying, it was free, didn't cost him anything to do that, but you're right. But it was also free for me, and he opened the door to me criticizing him further. So yeah, the next thing about that is that while he said he was going to get me into the program, there was a bit of time that passed where I wasn't getting in, and then I had to reach out and be like, hey, remember you were going to give me access? And then he got his customer service team involved. They got me into the program right away after I emailed them. And then, I dug into the first couple lectures that were available to me, but they never gave me access to the live portion. He says that there's live classes every week. That's what the customer service guy says. So I tried to tune in for it, but there was no link for me. There was no option for me to get in on the live session and maybe, voice some comments or have something to say about the program or whatever. I never had access to any of that. So I don't know if that's just not something that they offer anymore, if that was like something that they only did at the beginning and then Elliott got all the footage he needed and then he stopped doing the live sessions, or they deliberately didn't let me into the program at its entirety because they were worried that I was going to, people were going to recognize me, or I was going to throw shade on it or something during the class. Like maybe they just didn't want any of that at all, or maybe they just straight up forgot to add me, or they didn't care enough to add me. I don't know what the reason is, but he gave me free access to the program, but I didn't have entire access to the program. So right away I was kind of scratching my head and I was like, okay, this is kind of weird. And yes, I did reach out about it. I DM'd Elliott about it, and I emailed the customer service team, and they all ignored me. So I think that was kind of like they did their good deed for me, and they washed their hands of me, and that was it. They were moving on. They didn't want to help me any further. They didn't want to make sure that I was having a smooth time in the program. That was it. So then I realized that okay, it's just me and this program, but I had to wait for access to the classes, right? Like everybody else. Like I had to wait for a certain amount of time to pass before I could get in on the next lesson. So I was waiting for these classes to show up, but I didn't have access to the classes until they were done. So my judgment or whatever of this program might not be totally accurate to how the program actually is. This was just my experience. And before I talk about the program itself, I just want to say that this is my experience. This might not be everybody's experience. This might not be your experience. If you went through the program, maybe it changed your life. I don't know. These are just my thoughts, okay? And I don't want to take away business from the guy. If this is how he's making all of his money these days, I don't believe that is, because he's got a bunch of different strength camps across the country. But if this is where he's getting his sole source of income, I don't want to rob the man of money from hard work. And he obviously put a ton of work into this program, and I don't want to tear it down or take that money away from him. I'm just kind of sharing my thoughts on it. So if you're kind of on the fence about it, sure, you could listen to what I have to say. I just don't make judgment based entirely on what I'm saying. So getting into the nitty-gritty of this program without kind of spoiling it and taking the value away from it, it's a 13-week program, and each week has a different major theme or a major different lesson. As you guys know from the Elliott documentary, I have a little bit of a bone to pick with certain aspects of Elliott's lessons these days. Phase 7 was very controversial in my video. That is where a lot of people really connected with me, and they're like, yeah, I totally feel the same way. And a lot of people said, this was a great video until Phase 7. You totally don't get it. You're a beta simp. Blue pill's a bad one, right? Yeah. You're a blue pill loser. You're just a white knight feminist. You have no business making a video like this. To that I say, be gone, strength camp simps. If you want to follow a grown man beating his chest, then you can do that elsewhere. You have no power here. But anyways, where I was actually going with that is that the whole underlying theme of Elliott's content these days, and where it drifted from him as a follower, was when he got into this very pro-masculine, anti-anything that isn't masculine mentality. He talks about how the world has been broken and an order has been destroyed by women and females, and men need to rise up and take that power back. And that's just not a message that I agree with. And unfortunately, with the whole King's Initiate program, that is the underlying theme of like every single lesson. All of that energy, all of that same kind of vocabulary is being used in this program, and I just straight up don't agree with it at all. I'm taking a stance. I was very unbiased and objective in that video, but I'm saying in this video that I don't agree at all with Elliott's message about men. I don't think that there is a masculinity crisis. I'm frankly tired of being told that I'm a weak beta male because I don't agree with him, and I'm just going to keep forging my own path, and I'm not going to listen to the propaganda of anybody else, because it's not about what it means to be a man for me. I'm just trying to be the best person that I can be. It doesn't matter what genitals I was born with. I think that if I believe that I'm destined for greatness, then I'll be damned if anyone's going to stop me on that quest. And it doesn't matter what you believe in. Everyone is living their own lives. Everyone's following their own paths and creating their own journeys. Screw the propaganda. Just do your thing. Believe it or not, you don't always have to pick a side and fight the system in some way. You know what? Just keep focusing on yourself and bettering yourself. That's my philosophy, and that's what I try and help others do. I try and help people realize that there is greatness inside of you. There's already great potential and power inside of you. And my goal is just to help you realize that and pull that power to the surface and pull your full potential out and into the world. It doesn't matter if you're a female or a male. Like, that's completely irrelevant to me. So getting back to the program, I think I made it about 6 weeks in, and I just kind of started tuning out. I stopped listening to the lessons because every single week there's about, a 2-hour-ish video where Elliott's talking. It's a very presentation based experience, and it's kind of like a lecture. It kind of feels like you're in class and you're listening to a professor speak, and he's got slides and he's just sharing his thoughts and views of the world. And he takes a very commanding presence. Like, every week has a lesson that's kind of like, he calls them commandments, right? They're his commandments, and it has a very religious undertone to it. And I'm not against religion. I think religion can be a beautiful thing, but that's just kind of the feel of the whole thing. He's kind of commanding you to do things. He's commanding you to believe in him and his message. And if you don't get on board with that immediately, you're going to have a rough time. And obviously this tactic is working for recruiting people into his program. There's obviously a lot of people in this program that are having a great old time, and they're resonating with the message, and they're even probably building their own little community. But that's just not a community that I want to be a part of at all. It feels very toxic to me. He says a lot of things in this course that make me feel sick to my stomach about. That's just straight up degrading to women. I mean, it's just a very pro-masculine course. And you know what? Honestly, it's a damn shame, because Elliott is one of the smartest, wisest men that I have ever seen in my life. And I'm not ashamed that he was a very large part of my life when I was a teenager and a young man. I really followed him. I really believed in him. And I think he was a fantastic mentor for me. And I can't imagine the way my life would have turned out if I hadn't have had that exposure in my life. But the problem is just that he is so enveloped in this belief system and this whole idea of rising up a community of men to fight the system. It's really disappointing, because I think that he has a lot of really good advice and solid information to give the world. And I'm halfway through this program, and I haven't really seen a lot of that advice. It just seems like it's just straight up philosophizing and giving lectures about what he believes in, and he's getting men to take action that I don't agree with. And it's not practical advice either. It's not like you need to do this with your job. You need to, I feel like a lot of his old advice was very blunt. It was in your face. It's like, if you're sad about your life and your job, then you need to quit your job. You need to find something that you enjoy doing. You need to find out what makes you happy. And if the people in your life are making you sad, you gotta get away from those people. You gotta find people that are better for you in your life and make you happy. So I feel like if this same program happened, even a few years ago, like 5 or 10 years ago, it would have been just a phenomenal, life-changing program. And perhaps this program is that for some people, but it's definitely not going to be that for me. Maybe it's because I'm already established as a person and I know what I want for my life, but I didn't really find a lot of practical advice in it. That being said, I don't have access to the whole thing, or what I think is the whole thing, because there's a live Q&A that happens where he probably more so answers people's direct questions about their life. I've seen there are some Q&A videos that he has up that I can see where he answers people's questions in a more practical way. So I'm not saying that there's no practical advice in the program. It's just the main lessons didn't really do that for me. And I'm definitely not saying that I don't agree with all of his messages. I think that he has some really good lessons in there, and he's got some really good advice and good ways to live your life. But the problem is that a lot of these lessons and advice-giving sessions are surrounded with religious propaganda. There's kind of always some kind of analogy to the old society and days of old when men were in charge and men had all the power. There's definitely a bright light shined on that time as like being a better time, and kind of going back to those days and looking for advice on how we should live our lives now. And I just want to make really clear at this point in the video that I'm not saying that this is a bad program. I'm just saying that I don't personally agree with it. I think that there is a lot of really good advice. There's a lot of good pearls of wisdom from a man with a lot of life experience. There's definitely, if you were to go along with this program and you wanted to spend the money on it, you would probably learn a thing or two, and you would probably become a stronger version of yourself. But you would also have to completely and totally buy in to this masculine movement. And I should probably say that not every single slide in a presentation is about the masculine movement either. It's not all entirely like that. It's just kind of the overarching theme of every lesson. But there are, individual lessons that don't have anything to do with the masculinity movement and definitely do have a lot to do with self-improvement without any shade of propaganda thrown on it. And I apologize for these disclaimers, but I can already hear the stampede of angry Elliott cult followers on their way to this channel right now. So now that I've talked a little bit about the program, I only made it 6 weeks in, and I don't plan on finishing it. I kind of dabbled a little bit in the week 7 and week 8 lessons, and even week 9 a little bit. I skimmed a little bit just to kind of see what they were about. I don't want to finish it, and I don't want to give off, an hour-long review of this program based on 13 weeks of the lesson and share my experience, because that's not what I'm doing with this program. And sometimes when I was listening to some of these videos, I would get about 20-30 minutes in, and I couldn't listen anymore because I would feel sick to my stomach because of some kind of propaganda about how we need to be dominant over women, or just, that's just an example I'm pulling out of the air. But he would say something that would just kind of make me feel sick, and then I would have to stop watching the video or skip ahead. And I got to a point where I'm just like, do I really want to sit down for 2 hours and put this into my head? Do I want to listen to this kind of energy? Do I really want more of this in my life? So I've just made a decision from my own personal and mental health that this isn't what I want to expose my mind to, and I'm just cutting myself off from it, and I'm not giving a full review based on all 13 weeks for this reason. Before I wrap up this video, I want to compare this King's program with another program that I signed up for with a very similar structure. It was a 12-week program, and it was just as expensive as this one. Actually, it was more expensive than this one, and I just wanted to compare. I had nothing to compare it to. I only had my experience with this one program, so my experience was very limited, and what kind of feedback I could give on the program was, again, limited. There was not much I could say about it because I had nothing to compare it to. But now that I am in this other program and I'm almost done it, it's really shown me what a real program that's going to be life-changing can actually do for you. And going through this King's program, there's a lot of philosophical lessons and ideas, and it's very lecture based on, it's not like specifics as to what you should do, it's more of a broad, this is how you should live your life kind of program. Whereas this other program, which was more specific to what I wanted to accomplish in life, gave me specific and practical tools for how to grow my online business. Every week in Elliott's program, you pull out maybe new ideology about what you believe about yourself or the world, and every single week of this other program, I could see my life getting better. I was learning practical tools on how to further the things that I was stuck on in life, and I learned how to live my life in a way where I can take direct action. And as soon as I would finish a week of lessons and videos, I knew what I had to do. I could take immediate action, and every single week I could feel my life getting a little bit better. I was moving forward a little bit, and I was eager for the next module, right? The next lesson that I was going to learn, because it was practical advice that I could take immediate action on. And that is what I believe a good program should be if you're looking for something to totally change your life. And I'm not saying that Elliott's program has no practical advice, because it does. It's just not advice that I found particularly helpful or that I agreed with. And I'm actually in the process of developing my own life-changing transformation program, and this is actually the first time I'm talking about it on this channel. So if you're watching this video, you're getting a sneak peek. I've actually finished the program, and I'm running through it right now for the first time with some beta testers who are hopefully going to give me some feedback before I launch it publicly. So my program is going to be called Limit Breaker, because the whole idea behind it is that it helps you smash through your limits. It helps you break through your barriers, the things that are holding you back in life, if you want to become a stronger person and the best version that you can be and take life back into your own hands, take some action, actually accomplish your health and fitness goals, whether you want to put on muscle, lose weight, gain strength, all of that is going to happen in this program. And it's not just a program that like blindly spoon feeds you, it actually gives you practical tools and teaches you about your body and why things are important. So by the time the program is done, ideally you will know how to manage your own life without having to pay a coach to do it for you. And the whole thing about Limit Breaker is that it covers the mental component as well as the physical component, because I'm a large advocator for mental health and mental strength as much as I am physical strength. So the program includes like workout routines, what to do in the gym, what to do with weights, how to accomplish your physical goals, but it also coaches you mentally and gives you advice on how to handle relationships, how to conquer fear, how to make proper nutrition decisions. Whatever physical or mental limits you have on your life or things that are holding you back from getting you where you want to go, the point of this program is to help you smash through those limits and break the barriers down. So if you're interested in being a part of the public launch, DM me on Klassen Exercise, my Instagram, and I will add you to the list of people who are going to be a part of the launch, and maybe, just maybe, I can sneak you in early before the launch if you're really committed to this program. So that's going to do it for my review on the King's program. If that's something that you're interested in doing, you want to join Elliott's program, I say, you know what, go for it. It just really depends on you and what you're looking for in life. That program might be exactly what it is that you need. But again, whether you succeed or not in the program falls largely on how much you buy into Elliott's belief system and your views on what it means for yourself to become the best version that you can be. And unfortunately with this program, a lot of it revolves around talking negatively about society or culture or women or something. I think that this program would be better if it was just about yourself and the things that you can do without talking about how broken the world is. Because honestly, when we say that anyone's at fault, if we say society's at fault, if we say women's at fault, all it does is really make you angry, and it gives you someone to point a finger at and use them ultimately as an excuse for why you are weak or why you're not getting things done in life. Yeah, it'd be really easy for me to say, I'm not getting where I want to be because of this reason, and it can feel fun and exciting to be a part of what Elliott is deeming like a revolution or an uprising of men. That can feel fun to be a part of that, but I really just don't think that's important for your own personal growth. So whether you get a large group of guys together to rah-rah some pitchforks and stuff like that, and if that's what you need to advance your life, then sure, the King's program might be for you, but it's not something that I personally believe or buy into. So thank you, Elliott, for the program. I appreciate the gesture. I wish you and all of your King initiates a lot of success. I honestly want the best for everyone in your program, and I want all of you to succeed and live happy lives. I'm not using this video to spread hate or ill will on anybody or anything. Whatever cause you want to support, whatever belief you want to have, that's great, man. You just keep living your life. You guys just keep doing your thing, and I'm going to do mine. And before I wrap up the video, I guess I'll just briefly talk about my status with Elliott, kind of my thoughts, because a lot of time has passed, and I've been kind of DMing with him a little bit on Instagram, not that much, but just giving you guys a little bit of an update as to where I'm at in my head with Elliott Hulse. So I do think I wrapped it up pretty good in the Elliott Hulse video, kind of what my thoughts were. I still feel the same way about how I saw him kind of as a mentor at one point, and then I grew up and he was the master, and then I became my own master. I think that's the line that I used. I still feel that way. I still really appreciate his impact on my life, and I think he was a really great mentor at a time, but now he is not that for me anymore. I frankly, I don't really watch his videos anymore. I'm not going to keep up to date on him that much anymore. Like I mentioned before, I'll always keep a tab on him because he's an interesting guy to me, and he's still evolving, right? Like, the video had 7 phases, and I'm curious to see what phase 8 is going to be. You know, maybe phase 8 is still happening, and a lot of people are saying that this is just a temporary thing. People think that Elliott's going to move past this current stage that he's in, and he's going to kind of, like, he's been going so extreme in one direction for so long. What typically ends up happening is that he ends up recoiling and going another direction at some point. So with him going so deep into these beliefs and rejecting anyone who doesn't believe in him, what might end up happening is that he will mellow out, balance out, find like a happy medium. I know based on your comments, that's what a lot of you think. I'm not sure if that's what I think yet. I think that he's probably just going to go super hard in another direction, because that's always what he does. He's always evolving, man, and I know that that's how he likes to live his life. So the only judgment that I am really going to pass on him, and I hate saying that out loud, I'm definitely not in a place where I can pass judgment on anybody. I was following him on Instagram, and he's posting all these stories about how COVID is a conspiracy and it's not real, and the government is just they're playing us, and we need to rebel against them or whatever, and expose the truth to the people. It's that whole, I hate to say it, but he's become a bit of a conspiracist, and I don't really get behind that at all. And a lot of people think that he just does it for the shock value. I think that that's possible. He could just be doing it to make waves and get attention, but I really do think that he actually believes that COVID is a conspiracy. And we've talked a bit about, the sexism and bringing down women and stuff like that. That's one thing. But if you're going to, from a platform of millions of viewers, going to tell people to, not bother with personal protective equipment because he doesn't believe in it, and he thinks that it's all useless, there's no point. I really don't like that he's in a place where he has the potential of impacting people's lives, and he could be potentially giving a really potentially life-threatening advice, telling people not to bother with COVID protection. It's just it's a risk that's not worth it. I don't care what you believe. We're living in a time where the choices that we make could potentially pass a deadly virus on and kill somebody. Like, I've already lost someone close to me to COVID. I know a lot of you have. Like, almost everyone has been affected by this deadly virus in some way. And if he's going to spread misinformation like this, frankly, I unfollowed him on Instagram because I didn't want to see that anymore. I was just getting too frustrated. I had a good long debate with him about it on Instagram, and I don't want to expose myself to that kind of information. I'm not about that energy. I'm not about this wake up sheeple attitude. I'm just really not behind the place that Elliott's in right now. So if he changes in the future, or this virus passes and he stops spreading conspiracy theories around, I'll be more likely to again follow him and see what kind of advice he's giving. But as it stands right now, with the current messaging that he's sending out to the world, I'm not about it. So I'm always going to cherish him as a mentor that I had at one point in my life, but I'm moving past it. This is going to be the last Elliott Hulse video in a long time. Since the documentary blowing up, I've been getting pretty constant notifications about Elliott Hulse. It's Elliott Hulse this, Elliott Hulse that. I just need a bit of a break from it. And I don't want my channel to just become an Elliott Hulse update channel. This is going to be the last one for a long time. So unless something actually crazy happens or some new development happens that I have to make a video about, probably not going to be making another video about the man for a long time at least. Besides, I'm living my own life here. I'm trying to make my own unique content to the channel. I can't always be worried about what Elliott Hulse is doing. This is just an aftermath video, just like the title says. This is just giving you guys a final update because a lot of you have requested this video. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have made it. So thank you guys for sticking around if you made it this long in the video. I had no idea it was going to be this long. One last point here that I want to make abundantly clear and answer a lot of people's comments all at once. It is not my goal to judge and critique and rip apart Elliott Hulse. That's not what it was about. That documentary was kind of, it was from a place of respect and paying tribute. I wish no ill will on Elliott Hulse or any of his followers. And if you guys think that I'm being a white knight beta simp because I'm standing up for women's rights, then so be it. You're not somebody that I want subscribe to my channel anyway, and you probably didn't make it this far in the video, so it doesn't really matter. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys. The wave of new subscribers and followers to my YouTube channel and Instagram has been really inspiring to me, and I really want to keep working hard to keep putting out good content that you guys enjoy. Klassen out.